Continuing from the previous episode 505. What is that? With a rather dark object appearing in Liu Quan's hand, Qin Tian's pupils shrank strangely, and then the flames around him shook violently, as if he had encountered some terrifying natural enemy. What's the matter? Yaoxin and several people worked together to deal with Song Li and Yang Wei, but they were still able to fight 55-50, but everyone also felt that with the delay of the fighting time, in addition to the black gas the enchantment shrouded, the strength of Song Li and Yang Wei is getting stronger and stronger. If this continues, I am afraid that within 3 minutes, they will be defeated instantly. Xinya 81 Zhang Wei and Wang Wu. Kai 8.1 ZS. Koem Yaoxin raised his head and saw Qin Tian and Liu Quan in the sky. The power of a fiery red and domineering flame appeared on the two of them. As for the other, a rather delicate item appeared in Liu Quan's hand. However, because it was surrounded by jet black gas, the core did not notice what this thing was. Fan Yu, give me a moment, that stuff in Liu Quan's hands seems a little weird. Yaoxin spoke directly at the next moment, then finished speaking, sat down, and her eyes were locked in an instant. Okay. Fan Yu's heart sank when he heard the words, urging the exercises in his body and the remaining traces of vindictiveness to intercept Song Li's attack. Bang bang bang. The next moment, an invisible huge soul force suddenly emerged from the core of the medicine, and immediately shot at Liu Quan above the sky. Humph, it's too much. Liu Quan noticed the action of the medicine core, and then snorted coldly in disdain, and a black air suddenly spread from his feet. Puff puff, the black air suddenly spread out, and then attacked the medicine core on the ground. The medicine core was caught off guard and was attacked by the black gas, and the back turned pale, and a smear of blood spurted out instantly. That thing, it's terrifying. But it should be specially designed to deal with souls. Captain, be careful. The medicine core wiped away the blood from the corners of his mouth, and then opened his mouth slightly. Yaoxin, you must defeat Song Li and Yang Wei, otherwise, this time, we may be in trouble. He said with a worried look. Shoot! Yaoxin heard the words, and put away the worries in his heart, and concentrated on dealing with Song Li and Yang Wei in front of him. Liu Quan, you are so willing. Qin Tian squinted at Liu Quandao, who looked like a teenager. With years of combat experience, Qin Tian knew that what Liu Quan had in his hands would never be ordinary. At this time, the fiery red flame around Qin Tian's body had dimmed slightly. As for this reason, it may be due to the strange item in Liu Quan's hand at this time, or the lack of vindictiveness in Qin Tian's body. Susu. Qin Tian, I said, no matter how huge the price is, this time, you will die. Liu Quan's youthful face suddenly smiled grimly, with a little evil in his smile. The thing in your hand, although I don't know what it is, but according to this breath, it should be a kind of ghost world. Qin Tian opened his mouth slightly, but his pupils locked Liu Quan's hand. The vision is not bad, but it's okay to tell you. This thing is called the soul-shattering card. After Liu Quan finished speaking, the black air mass that was lying quietly in his hand trembled strangely. In the air pattern, soul-shattering card? Qin Tian's body was shocked when he heard the words. As the leader of the dragon-loving legion, a strong man at the peak of the dignified Do Di, how could he not know the horror of this thing? The broken soul comes out. The soul is lost. The short 8 characters explain the horror of this broken soul card. The so-called soul-shattering card is enough to truly achieve the goal of killing the peak powerhouse of Do Di. Because of the strong Do Emperor, even after the fall, as long as the soul power is still retained, they can achieve rebirth through some special means of the alchemist, but if the soul power disappears, it is undoubtedly the real fall. It's no wonder that Qin Tian was so shocked. After all, Qin Tian at this time was not at his peak. Damn it, how could it be a soul-shattering card? This is something that only ghosts can condense. Could it be that Solomon has any connection with the ghost world? Qin Tian's pupils were instantly full of blood, and he said incredulously. Even with the strength of Emperor Qin Tiando at the peak, he still felt powerless against the soul-shattering card. Because this soul-shattering card is fundamentally a kind of weapon, but it is a one-time thing, so it also makes it precious. But the most terrifying thing about this soul-shattering card is that it is hard to guard against. There has been nothing to defend against since ancient times. There has always been a saying in the outside world that under the broken soul, the strong person below the half-immortal will be destroyed in form and spirit. Qin Tian, what about your pride at the peak of Dodi? Susu. Eerie and eerie laughter continued to emanate from Lu's body. Looking for death, Qin Tian shouted loudly, and then no longer hesitated. The fiery red flames instantly covered his whole body, his hands were clenched, and he whizzed away towards Liu Quan. The world trembled slightly. It's time to end. Lu's whole body flickered strangely, and with a casual touch, he avoided Qin Tian's seemingly terrifying blow. Qin Tian fluttered into the air, his speed exploded again, and attacked where Liu Quan kept dodging. Shabu shabu. At this moment, there was a fierce collision above the sky. Qin Tian knew clearly that once the broken soul card was dispatched, I am afraid that none of the members of the Dragon-Loving Legion would be able to withstand it. At that time, the fate of their entire group would only be the nourishment for this Solomon. Qin Tian, accept the move! Liu Quan shouted loudly, and then a terrifyingly dazzling black light burst out from the strange air mass in his hand. The dark light was like a death ray, blasting directly at Qin Tian. With Liu Quan's big link to drink www.novelmtl.com, Qin Tian seemed to feel that his heart and soul seemed to be locked by something. No matter how Qin Tian used the means, it would not help. A chill emerged in my heart. Not good. A loud shout came from Qin Tian's mouth. Captain! On the ground, Yaxin shouted at the same time, and then the breath suddenly shook, instantly blocking the attack of Song Li and Yang Wei, and immediately lifted into the air, facing Qin Tian. With such an appearance, it is astonishing that he wants to save Qin Tian. Damn it, it's too late. At the next moment, Xuan Wanxin, who was at the back of the group, suddenly filled with a hint of decisiveness, and immediately above the dark body, an extremely dazzling red light instantly appeared here. In the black enchantment, Xuan Wanxin, stop me! He drank abruptly, but the tears could no longer be stopped, and he burst into tears. Sister Xin, take good care of your brothers and sisters. Xuan Wanxin said to Yaxin, who was on the side. After speaking, his whole body shook violently, and then suddenly turned into a red light, with an aura of extinction, facing that the soul-shattering death ray blasted up. Xuan Wanxin, you bastard! After he finished speaking, he suddenly ignored the people around him, and then his breath burst out again, catching up with Xuan Wanxin. Qingmu, you are? Xuan Wanxin said sluggishly. Idiot, I'm with you. After speaking, a rare charming smile appeared in the corner of his eyes. Ask for a recommendation. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 506. With you in this life, what can I ask for? He opened his eyes slightly, as if speaking silently. Qingmu, from the first day I saw you, I fell in love with you. If we don't die, it would be nice to marry me. Xuan Wanxin said a little bitterly, and there was a slight expression on his face. Smile like a gentleman, okay? The beautiful eyes moved slightly, seemingly casually speaking, but it made Xuan Wanxin's heart viciously shake, because Xuan Wanxin knew that no matter the background, status and strength behind the eyes, it was the same. Not within reach. So, you can't die. For a moment, a dignified look appeared in his pupils. I know, don't worry, although I have burned my life force for nearly 50 years, I won't die. Hearing the words, his brows trembled suddenly, burning 50 years of life, this is extraordinary. Although the lifespan of a strong Dodi is quite high, these 50 years are not a small number. However, he didn't struggle with his eyes, and let Xuan Wanxin gently hug him. On the shoulders of Leaning Eyes, a smooth palm slowly wrapped around her shoulders, and a trace of warmth flowed into Xuan Wan's heart. You can't die. A smile emerged beside Qingmu Yuer, and then Xuan Wanxin's palm slightly moved down, directly down Qingmu's shoulder, and lightly tapped it somewhere. At this point, the dazzling ray of light on Qingmu's body was instantly extinguished, and the fighting spirit in his body instantly contracted, in exchange for the stunned look on his face. You! Qingmu said with some difficulty. The next moment, a trace of vindictiveness emanated from Xuan Wanxin's body and sent Qingmu back directly. Sister Xin, take good care of her for me. A rebellious voice suddenly came to the ears of several members of the Dragon-Loving Legion. Although Xuan Wanxin is the youngest and weakest of our Dragon-Loving Legion, his strength is obvious to all of you. This time, let's take a gamble and believe him. The corners of Yaxin's eyes clearly flickered. Heartache. he said immediately. But if that's the case, can Xuan Wanxin bear it? Fan Yu said with some difficulty. Isn't that the way he should go? He shook his head before speaking, without saying anything. Ah, this Xuan Wanxin really has twists and turns. Zhan Mo on the side said a little uncomfortable. Prepare, we only have a chance to strike. We must break the black barrier immediately. The task of breaking the barrier will be handed over to you. After breaking the barrier, I will teleport immediately, and we must go back. Road. It's too late to say it. Above the sky, after facing the death ray burst from Liu Quan's hand, Qin Tian frowned. The soul-shattering card should not look like this. Is there something wrong? Apparently facing the dark death ray, Qin Tian also noticed something was wrong. Although he hesitated, Qin Tian did not stop in his hands. After all, Liu Quan's offensive should not be underestimated. Boom boom boom! The terrifying flame instantly condensed in his hand, and an extremely hot flame energy ball appeared instantly. Go! Qin Tian drank abruptly. The energy ball containing the power of terrifying flames in his hand instantly disappeared towards the dark black death ray. Bang bang bang! The next moment, the two suddenly hit each other, and terrifying death ripples continued to emerge from the center of the explosion. Damn it! Go back! Song Li and Yang Wei obviously already had other thoughts in their minds, and immediately said, Will we do this? Song Li asked worriedly. After all, Liu Quan was their Solomon's three masters. Song Li, if you want to succeed, this Liu Quan must. After Yang Wei finished speaking, he drew a few strokes towards his neck, and a sinister wave spread throughout Yang Wei's body. I see. Song Li nodded immediately after hearing this, and then both of them nodded. The next moment, a mouthful of blood suddenly spewed out of the two mouths. According to the opportunity, the two said in unison, What a terrifying fluctuation! Yaxin took the look, and then several people stepped back and came to the ground, completely ignoring the two Song Li. Prepare. The core came to the ground and said to a few people around him. As soon as the words fell, Fan Yu and Xuan Mo suddenly stimulated the last remaining traces of vindictiveness in their bodies, and they continued to gather on Yaxin. At that time, Yaxin's vindictiveness and soul power returned at an extremely terrifying speed. Right. In a few breaths, the aftermath in the sky has slowly dissipated, but there are still traces of flame and black gas in the air. Although the two are extremely small, they contain frightening fluctuations. Su, go to hell! The next moment, on Liu Quan's bizarre palm, a strange, boxy object suddenly appeared, and then suddenly roared towards Qin Tian. At that time, a chilling air filled the entire sky, causing the people on the ground to feel slightly chilled. Is it the soul-shattering card? Qin Tian's pupils flashed a fiery red color, and then he was slightly surprised. On the strange boxy object in Liu Quan's hand, a broken word slowly appeared, and then in this space shrouded in black, all the black energy suddenly went towards the broken soul card. Soul-shattering card. Fall down, Qin Tian! Liu Quan shouted loudly. The chilling meaning in his voice became more terrifying. You want our head to die? Just as Qin Tian was about to give his all, a familiar voice came from behind Qin Tian. Qin Tian turned his eyes away. His eyes were dull, obviously because of his concentration just now. He didn't know that Xuan Wanxin had come behind him. This fluctuation, could it be? Qin Tian asked in surprise. The Dragon-Loving Legion has a full 10 people, and each of them has their own special place before they can be absorbed into the Dragon-Loving Legion's link to www.novelmtl.com drug core. The use of soul power, in exploring this aspect has a unique advantage. As for the characteristics of Xuan Wanxin, it is strange to say. Xinya 81 Zhang Wian Wang Wu, Kai 8, approximately 1 ZS, Co-M because the characteristic of Xuan Wanxin is that it becomes virtual. As the name suggests, this illusion is to make a certain person or an object with life illusory for 1 second at a specific time, through Xuan Wanxin's innate special means. To say that it is illusory, it would be better to say that it is invincible. Because in this second of blurring, whether it's a battle chi attack or a soul attack, it's all ineffective. Don't look at it for just 1 second, but it can do a lot. Head, don't worry. Xuan Wan drank coldly, facing Qin Tiandao with a rare gratification in his voice. Wanxin. Qin Tian casually glanced at the few people below, and found that they were all too weak. He nodded slightly, and then suddenly drank it, as if he had a plan in his heart. "What are you doing?" Liu Quan seemed to have discovered that Xuan Wanxin was burning his own vitality, but he didn't care too much, because the vitality that Xuan Wanxin was burning was not too much, so there was no surge in strength, nor was he too attracted to Liu Quan. Care more. It's just that at this moment, Xuan Wanxin had a rather strange gesture in his hand, and the corners of his mouth were constantly muttering something, and a rather mysterious wave slowly appeared all over his body. Ask for a recommendation. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 507. Do not care. Go! Liu Quan doesn't care what the Xuan Wanxin and Qin Tian are up to, because Liu Quan regards the boxy soul-shattering cards in his hand as something condensed by the power of ghosts and immortals. So Liu Quan has enough confidence that when the soul-shattering card comes out, he instantly kills Qin Tian. Boom boom boom. As Liu Quan's voice just fell, the square black beam of light in his hand shook suddenly, and then turned into a black air mass about several meters in size. The black air mass slowly formed, but among them, a very eye-catching word, shattered, suddenly appeared. With the condensing and forming of this soul-shattering card, a chill poured into everyone's hearts in the enchantment that was already shrouded in black enchantment at this time. The next moment, the soul-shattering card suddenly eroded away towards Qin Tian with a burst of extremely strong ghost energy. Although the momentum is small, the power contained in the black air mass of the soul-shattering card, even Qin Tian, feels a little weak. As expected, it's a soul-shattering card. It can lock me. I'm afraid I'll be hit by it wherever I run. Qin Tian sighed slowly. Even if he was separated by a few hundred meters, he could still get away from it. A death-like wave was felt in the black air mass of the soul-shattering card. If you are really hit by this broken soul card, I am afraid that your strength at the peak of Btth2 will instantly dissipate your soul, and you will fall here in the true sense. If it wasn't for the fact that our dragon-loving legion was full of scars this time, in order to save our strength and deal with the Medusa family, you Liu Quan would have died 10 times. Qin Tian faced the broken soul card with a wave of death. Without any trace of fear, he spoke slowly. Isn't Qin Tian giving up resistance? The moment Liu Quan left the soul-shattering card, he had already mobilized most of the power in his body, so now Liu Quan is sure about the soul-shattering card. Strong enough to kill Btth2's peak, not to mention that Qin Tian's strength is less than half of his peak. After Liu Quan thought for a while, there was no result, so Liu gave up thinking and stared directly at Qin Tian in front of him. At this moment, wherever the ray of light from the shattered soul card went, ghosts wailed everywhere, causing countless gloomy ghosts to permeate this enchantment. On the other hand, Qin Tian still looked at Liu Quan as if nothing had happened, and did not take the broken soul card in his eyes at all, but a fiery red appeared in his pupils. On the contrary, Xuan Wanxin, who was not far behind Qin Tian, was rapidly changing the handprints in his hands, and strange and mysterious runes continued to appear all over his body. Qin Tian, you are still so arrogant when you are about to die? Don't worry, I'll leave you a whole body. Ha ha ha. Liu Quan laughed strangely. The next moment, the broken soul card seemed to be locked on Qin Tian. When it came to Qin Tian for several dozen meters, the speed suddenly increased, and the black air mass suddenly opened a huge gap, as if it wanted to give Qin Tian an instant. Devour in general. Virtualization. A harsh voice echoed in this enchantment, and then in the broken soul card, the power of execution of immortals just pierced through Qin Tian's body. It seems that Qin Tian at this time is just a phantom, not a real body at all. How is that possible? Liu Quan's pupils clenched tightly, and a wave of fear poured into his heart. This broken soul card is the hand of the ghosts of the ghost world. Once the broken soul card is released, not to mention the powerhouse at the peak of the Do Emperor, even the powerhouse at the half-immortal level can only fall sadly. This is also why Liu Quan can challenge and kill Zhu Jin with confidence by relying on his strength of rank 3 9-star Btth2. How could this be possible? Doesn't it feel incredible? The next moment, the broken soul card penetrated directly, then turned into a white mist, and instantly disappeared into the enchantment. Although the soul-shattering card was terrifying, it was only a one-time thing after all. Once Qin Tian avoided it by strange means, it naturally lost its energy and disappeared. Then let me tell you, Liu Quan, today is your day of death. Qin Tian suddenly drank, and a shocking fiery red flame spewed out of his body. Fire Dragon Roar! With an angry shout, Qin Tian tapped the soles of his feet on the ground, and suddenly leveraged his strength to transform into a fire dragon. Qin Tian was in the mouth of the fire dragon and attacked Liu Quan, who was still in surprise. Asshole! How can this happen? This is something of a ghost. It doesn't claim to have the power to kill half immortals. How can it be? Liu Quan said in a very puzzled way. Obviously he didn't understand why his soul-shattering card failed. Boom boom boom! In the next second, Qin Tian suddenly came to Liu Quan's side, making Liu Quan have to guard against it. Humph! With a cold snort, the monstrous black energy poured into Liu Quan's body, and then Qin Tian's seemingly terrifying blow was instantly blocked. Being strong from the outside and working hard at the same time, it seems that Qin Tian, you are at the end. Although Liu Quan didn't know why the soul-shattering card passed directly through Qin Tian, at the moment, it was too late to think too much, so he had to fight well. It's just that Liu Quan at this time didn't see the ground at all, but the medicine core slowly opened up an extremely small crack behind him. As for Song Li and Yang Wei, a trace of blood flowed from the corners of their mouths, and then they stared at the battle in the sky. Ha ha ha, is that so? At the next moment, Qin Tian laughed loudly, and then the figure quickly moved away from Liu Quan, and above his body, a silver light was slowly exuding. Silver light? Space transfer? Liu Quan's eyes narrowed, and Yu reading link to www.youcanshu.com suddenly realized something was wrong. Liu Quan, there will be an appointment in the future. Today's account, my Xuanling royal family will definitely recover it in the future. Qin Tian finished speaking, his figure flickered strangely, and then disappeared into this black enchantment. Soul attack! A cold snort came out, making Liu Quan have to guard against it. Bastard! Liu Quan just wanted to stop Qin Tian, but was stopped by the sudden blow from the medicine core. The next moment, Qin Tian's group disappeared without a trace, and even the rift that escaped was closed again. The next moment, Liu Quan seemed to find that there were two cold, malicious eyes directed at him. Song Li? Yang Wei? What are you doing? Let the two of you stop those dragon-loving legionaries. You can't stop them. You're really trash. A displeased voice appeared from Liu Quan's mouth, and Liu Quan returned to his youthful appearance again. He. 3 sect masters, after all, you look at a few people who are also from the dragon-loving legion. Our strength is limited. Just as Song Li was about to speak, Yang Wei pulled Song Li directly and immediately said, "Forget it. You two do your best, and forgive you this time." "Let's go," Liu Quan said slowly, just about to leave the black barrier. "Sect Master, wait a minute. There is something I want to borrow from the Sect Master, but I don't know if it is feasible." The corner of Yang Wei's mouth rose, revealing a dangerous smile. "Oh, what? Tell me." Liu Quan turned his head and looked at Yang Wei, who was smiling. "That thing is 3 Sect Master, your power." After Yang Wei finished speaking, his breath suddenly soared, and he launched a terrifying offensive. Set a small goal first, such as 1 second to remember. Shukju mobile version reading website. Continuing from the previous episode 508. Bastard! Liu Quan snorted loudly, and the voice of dissatisfaction spread throughout the entire black barrier. Song Li, Yang Wei, are you crazy? Liu Quan dodged Yang Wei's terrifying blow, and then said in surprise. "Where is it, the Sect Master? We have been serving you for so many years, you should be down." Yang Wei said slowly, but his voice was extremely strange. "Even if I die, how will the two of you be distributed?" Liu Quan heard the words, and he said slyly, "You don't have to worry about it." Yang Wei said coldly, because Yang Wei found that Liu Quan's voice had just fallen, and Song Li on the side was obviously hesitant. "Ha ha ha, just because the two of you want to eat me? It's too stupid to talk about a dream. It happens that I also lack some power now. If I absorb the power of the two of you, I can't say that I can be promoted a lot." Susu. At the end, Liu Quan made a very hideous voice. "Song Li, don't be frightened by him. This Liu Quan is now a force from the outside." Yang Wei seemed to have seen through the strangeness of Liu Quan, and immediately said, "Strong outside and working in the middle? How do you say this?" Song Li's eyes narrowed slightly. The soul-shattering card is not something that anyone can use. This Liu Quan is only the strength of the third-ranking 9-star Do D. He just used the soul-shattering card. I am afraid that nearly 70% of the power in his body will be twitched. In addition to this enchantment, the ghostly energy in it has just turned into a terrifying scene, although I don't know why it was avoided by Qin Tian. Yang Wei analyzed. Kill. A greedy voice slowly emerged from Song Li's mouth. Quick fight and quick decision. As for Liu Quan's strength, we'll talk about it at the end. Yang Wei nodded slightly. Do it. The next moment, Song Li's aura suddenly soared, and in a short time, his strength soared to the level of a perfect 8-star Do Emperor. Beast! Liu Quan, who was standing above the sky, shouted angrily, but a weak feeling spread throughout his body. Xinya 81 Zhang Wian Wang U. Kai 8.1 ZS, Koem, sure enough. Yang Wei was overjoyed when he saw it. Liu Quan, take me for a move. Song Li's killing intent emerged, and then he suddenly shot at Liu Quan above the sky. Susu, that's really stupid. Seeing that Song Li was fooled, Yang Wei said in his heart, but Yang Wei didn't attack Liu Quan directly. Because Yang Wei knew that even though Liu Quan was at the end of his shot, he still understood the fact that a dead camel was bigger than a horse. With the strength of your mere 8-star Do D, Liu Quan said with disdain, and then he forcibly suppressed the weakness in his body, and then absorbed the ghost energy in the black barrier, constantly replenishing his body. The extremely dark ghosts gathered madly towards Liu Quan. Tear the ghost hand. With a loud shout, Song Li's somewhat dark black energy suddenly condensed into a huge hand. He smashed it viciously at Liu Quan. Boom boom boom. The huge black palm attacked Liu Quan frantically, but when it was 3 feet away from Liu Quan, it stopped strangely, as if it was caused by a rather strange force. Go away, Liu Quan said gloomily. As soon as the voice fell, an extremely powerful ghost energy spread out. Puff puff. Affected by the black air ripples, Song Li actually spit out a mouthful of blood. Bastard! How can Liu Quan have such terrifying power? Song Li wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then stared at Liu Quan above the sky. Go to hell! Liu Quan stared fiercely at Song Li. A murderous intent emerged, and then the dazzling ghosts around him frantically attacked Song Li. Not good, Song Li secretly said, then his speed skyrocketed and he ran away. Because of his intuition, Song Li knew that if he was hit by Liu Quan, he would have to drag a layer of skin if he didn't die. Just as Liu Quan was concentrating on attacking Song Li, on the ground beside him, an incomparably evil voice slowly spread through the black barrier. Liu Quan, it's over. Destroy. A cold snort spread across this black barrier. As soon as Yang Wei's voice fell, a dazzling black light slowly appeared in his body, and then the speed skyrocketed, with the power of death, crashing into Liu Quan. Boom boom boom. A wave of terrifying black ripples continued to emanate from the space where Liu Quan was. The next moment, this space shrouded in black was instantly shattered because it couldn't bear such terrifying fluctuations. What kind of power are you? Impossible. How could you? The next moment, a wave of fear poured into Liu Quan's face. It's over, Yang Wei said slowly. After speaking, he moved his figure and grabbed Liu Quan with both hands. As the black barrier shattered, the news that Liu Quan was besieged by Song Li was naturally known to the Medusa clan. Sir, what should we do now? In the underground palace, Shefu Weiwei was in the first place, replacing the blue and white snake's original position. Don't worry, you all take turns to be optimistic about the Temple of Medusa, and if there is any trouble, report it immediately. I will retreat to heal the wounds of King Hua Snake and Qinyan. After Shefu finished speaking, he slowly disappeared into the huge underground palace, leaving the leaders of the 9 major tribes to look at each other. Let's take a step by step. The 9 leaders naturally knew that this blue and white snake was cultivated by Shefu, and now Shefu is also slightly heartbroken. Cough cough cough. Xuan Wanxin, are you alright? After Qin Tian and his group escaped from the Desert of Death, they also returned to the Xuanling royal family by relying on the transmission of the soul power of the medicine core. I'm fine. Xuan Wanxin opened his mouth slightly, the corners of his mouth were very pale. Obviously the consumption just now almost consumed Xuan Lingxin's link to energy www.novelmtl.com. It's fine, we're back. Qingmubei bit her lips slightly, and said with a little heartache. Pass my order down. The whole city is under martial law. After Qin Tian finished speaking, he led a group of people from the dragon-loving legion to retreat. Obviously, if there were no means to save lives this time, it would have been a heavy loss. In the Xuanling royal family auction house, a scantily clad woman said slowly, "It seems that the Xuanling royal family should have succeeded. I really underestimated this dragon-loving legion." It was Blood Rose who spoke, but at this time, an extremely strong ghostly energy appeared on Blood Rose, which was extremely terrifying. "Hey, I really don't know what happened to those little guys. I remember Yan Kai said that there seems to be something of his kind in the desert area, but that desert area has various restrictions, plus the deep Medusa, the depths of the family, so few people go. I hope these little guys will make great progress when they come back this time." In the depths of the desert, Lao Zhu slowly opened his mouth. "Forget it. Let's go back first. The Xuanling royal family is actually thinking like this. It seems that the plan to save Yan Kai must be advanced. Otherwise, once the Xuanling emperor and a few people succeed, then it will really..." Zhu Lao finished speaking and disappeared instantly. "Ask for a recommendation. It's finally over here. This is a big story, but I didn't grasp the rhythm well, so I ignored the hero and let him play soy sauce for 20 chapters. I'm guilty of sin. I'll improve it next time." End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 509. The scorching sun was scorching hot, and a single sun shone on the sky, making the already scorching desert of death even hotter. "Xiao Yan, you said that there is something in this desert area that can actually make these Tang Tang people so fascinated. And in the end, the Bloodblade mercenary group was able to abandon the desert area. I'm afraid the treasure in the Medusa temple is even more." Mu Feng said curiously. Xinya 81 Zhang Wian Wang Yu. Kai 8.1 ZS. Koem. I don't know what's inside the Medusa temple, but what I do know is what's inside. I'm afraid Qin Tian at the peak of Do Di has only one way to die. Xiao Yan said in a low voice. When several people heard the words, they immediately kept their mouths shut. Obviously, Xiao Yan, who has an extremely powerful soul perception ability, said so, and everyone had to let go of their guesses. Don't worry about it for now. Let's go into the desert first. After all, Lao Zhu sent us here to experience this time. There must be a reason for him. Xiao Yan saw that several people were silent, and immediately said slowly. Let's go. Mu Yingying's lips moved, breaking the awkward situation. Everyone followed the directions given by Tang Tang before. The entrance to this desert area is very strange. It was still here just now. Why is it gone now? After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he glanced at the people around him and found that there was nothing unusual, and then said, Where? The next moment, Xiao Yan suddenly saw a wriggling desert above the desert, and immediately drank it. The desert here is creeping slowly, like flowing water. It is the entrance to the desert land that Tang Tang said. There are too many strong people here. Let's take advantage of them to fight and go. Xiao Yan no longer hesitated, and directly penetrated the entrance of that strange desert. When the four people next to him heard the words, their eyes sank, and they jumped inside. The next moment, the wriggling desert closed instantly. At this time, it was calm again. Just as Xiao Yan and the others passed through the wriggling desert entrance, they felt an extremely frightening wave spread from below. Passing through the entrance of the creeping desert area, several people came to a rather strange place. This place should be a passage leading to the desert area. Xiao Yan's whole body exuded milky white flames, which instantly lit up the space here, and found that the surroundings here were pitch black, and it was almost as if he could not reach out his fingers. The terrifying flames slowly left a trace of extremely small flames behind Xiao Yan, but Xiao Yan and the others did not pay attention. It always feels like something is wrong. Speed up, it should be coming soon. As she went deeper and deeper, Xiao Yi, who had always been taciturn, glanced at some flames behind her, then shook her head and said, Yes. Several people responded one after another, because they knew that this desert area is not a simple place. It is a place where life and death go hand in hand. Yep, be careful. The next moment, following Xiao Yan's exclamation, a large group of unknown creatures suddenly emerged from the darkness. On the surrounding walls, be careful. Xiao Yi spoke first. At this time, 5 rays of light of different colors appeared on Xiao Yan's 5 people, and then a large group of mysterious creatures appeared at a distance of several hundred meters in front of them. Those creatures are covered in darkness, Even Xiao Yan's powerful soul power can't detect what they are, but one thing is certain, there are quite a few of these creatures. Destroy. Xiao Yan felt anxious when he saw it, and then said softly, instantly suppressing the flames on his body and the light on the others. It's just that this is the case. There are still some rays of light behind several people, especially Xiao Yan's flames are the most obvious. The next moment, he took the people around him and headed in the opposite direction. Su. A strange voice suddenly came from Xiao Yan's front feet. Everyone couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, but the space where they were originally collapsed instantly after these strange creatures passed by. Those remaining flames were instantly swallowed up by these mysterious creatures. What? Mu Yingying spoke first. Her voice was full of doubts. Obviously she also noticed those creatures that appeared suddenly, but before she had time to react, it was driven by Xiao Yan. I don't know what it is, but the number is terrifying. And I vaguely discovered that these things seem to be looking for something. Xiao Yan said softly to the people around him. This should be a dark bat. Mu Feng, who was beside him, suddenly said. Dark bat? Green Flute seemed to have recovered, looking at the dark passage. Dark bats, born in the darkness, love darkness the most. It is said that they have the terrifying power to destroy space, and they cannot see any light. Once any light appears in their lair, they will swarm out. The entrance to this desert area should be full of dark bats, and according to my perception feedback, the number is probably extremely terrifying. Mu Feng lowered his voice slightly, trying to keep his voice as low as possible to avoid being discovered by these strange creatures. Destroy the space. It's not enough. Why do I think I like flames? Xiao Yan was surprised when he heard the words, but only thought a little. Obviously, this Mu Feng has a mysterious cultivation technique, so in this darkness, Mu Feng's perception is stronger than Xiao Yan, which Xiao Yan also admits, but Xiao Yan still feels rather strange about the fact that this dark bat loves flames. As we all know, bats are naturally cold, almost like the Medusa family. They have a natural fear of it, so how could they love flames? Forget link to www.novelmtl.com. Let's bypass them. After a short thought, Xiao Yan also made a decision. After all, this is just the beginning. Although the number of these dark bats is quite large, Xiao Yan has if the 5 of them want to be wiped out completely, it will take a lot of effort, but who would do such a thing for no reason? Let's go, keep your movements small. The next moment, Xiao Yan finished speaking, and raised his palms, gently pulling Mu Yingying and Xiao Yi. A few people next to them saw it, and they followed suit, because they also knew that there were 9 perilous dangers here. It's so warm. Mu Yingying's jade hand was just pulled by Xiao Yan, and her delicate body suddenly shook, and then a broad palm directly held Mu Yingying's slender jade hand. The next moment, Mu Yingying originally wanted to struggle, but after thinking about the current situation, she did not do anything, but at this moment, a warm warmth slipped into Mu Yingying's body from Xiao Yan's palm. Above. Let's go. After Xiao Yan finished, he slowly led a few people forward. As for the dark bat, after swallowing up the flames left by Xiao Yan because of the lighting, it perched around the passage. This dark bat seems a bit strange. Long Yi, who was on the ancient ruler of Yuo Heng on Xiao Yan's body, also said slightly. It's just that what Xiao Yan didn't notice at this time was that Fen Zhu, the deepest part of his body, suddenly flashed a strange light, and it was fleeting. Ask for a recommendation. Now the monthly pass is 83. If it reaches 90 on the last day of this month, it will be 3 more updates. End of this chapter.